Hello!
Hi!
Welcome to Friday with Friends. Thank you for tuning in.
Thanks for joining us.
I am Mandy and this is...
Hey guys, it's Abby.
I was like, your name's not Hey Guys.
Hey guys.
And Friday with Friends is our opportunity to talk about what's going on in the market, to chat about the latest and greatest, answer any questions you might have, so that when you have any real estate needs, your friends, your families, your coworkers have any real estate needs, we would love the opportunity to be your realtor of choice because we do love helping. Hi Missy, hi Kayla, hi Dave, good to see you guys.
Hi everyone.
So when you hop on, be sure to say hi. Oh yes, you've got a whole bunch. Be sure to say hi. Feel free to ask any questions. If you've been experiencing the real estate market, give us, what you're feeling,
Yes.
and then we can just kind of go with it.
Perfect.
Share it to anyone you think might need to hear it too.
I know, we're going to get into a lot of data today, so it should be really fun. Definitely comment with any questions or thoughts, maybe if you're experiencing it, because that's our job, is to really interpret the market and interpret what our clients are going through.
Yep.
Because it's really interesting when we look at these numbers, they're exactly what we're seeing. We're seeing what we'll get into, I won't give it away. And then I think about our real life and what we're experiencing with our clients, and they match up.
Yeah, and we're feeling it. And because we we help a lot of buyers and sellers.
Yeah.
This year we're on track to help almost 200 buyers and sellers, which is
Woohoo!
awesome and phenomenal because we have the experience, but we also have so many systems and an awesome team so that those buyers and sellers feel like they're our only clients too. So we get the best of both worlds, but when we're dealing with that many buyers and sellers, we see the trends. We see that things are consistently showing up. We know what it's going to take to win a house. We know what it's going to take to get a house sold. So the trends are very apparent to us.
Yeah, for sure. All right,
Okay.
well, let's get
So,
into it.
Hashtag live if you're watching this live. Hashtag replay if you're watching it later if you want to have comments so we make sure that we don't miss. We definitely read those, respond to those. Always give a like or a love because we're just so grateful for you for being here.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in.
Hi, Amanda. Hey, Tom.
Awesome.
Okay.
So let's start with kind of just our general market update of when we start talking about some terms, let's kind of define them up front. So
Perfect.
while we're going, you guys know exactly what we're talking about. So there's really a few different types of markets, but the biggest one is a buyer's market and a seller's market.
Yes.
So you want to get into a little bit of what a buyer's market is?
So a buyer's market is where hi Jamie, the buyer's market is where is when the buyer is in control. That's the simple way to think about it. You are happy when you are a buyer. And what that means is you have the control so that when you go to buy the house, you have better negotiating. So that typically means that there's not as many.
Nope.
There's way more houses than there are buyers.
Exactly. And then the seller's market is the exact opposite. The seller is in the driver's seat, meaning that the amount of houses is low and the amount of buyers is high.
So right now, the market that we've experienced, anybody who's been in this market or even been seen the news or seen life knows that right now it is a seller's market.
Yes.
If you want to get the most amount of money for your house, this is your time to do it. The inventory is low, the buyer demand is high. I know where you spoiler alert?
Yeah.
Total spoiler alert, but that's how it is. So right now the majority of it is you are seeing that it is a seller's market. And then what we're going to do is we're going to dig into specific neighborhoods, specific cities, some towns, specific price points, because that's the generalization, but we want you to understand how we can help you. So we'll talk about, from Canandaigua to Penfield, Ontario, Monroe County, all of that.
Exactly. And I think a lot of times we really look at these numbers and they might scare you if you're a buyer or scare you if you're a seller, but really it's not good or bad. It's kind of just what it is. And it's our job to interpret that so we can educate you on what to expect, what not to expect, so you're really prepared throughout the process.
So Jamie just commented how she's trying to get her husband to do the buy and sell. And you brought up a great point, which is it's great when you're a buyer, but if you are buying and selling, do you know that you're both?
Right.
So it's great if you're a seller, but then you have to go buy something. So in whatever market you're in, the money that you're going to make on the sell side, you're probably going to have to spend on the buy side in order to get what you want.
I don't know how I did that.
So yes, Jamie. Yes, Jamie. Oh yeah, do you like the summer flow, Grant?
Yeah, it's beach waves.
Total beach waves.
From Rochester.
Hashtag humidity.
Exactly.
All right, cool.
So, let's get into it.
Okay, so we're going to talk numbers. If you guys have any other questions, let us know, but we're going to get right into it. So We talked about, so we did a Q1 market update where we reviewed what the closed sales were year over year. Because here's the reality. We understand that quarter to quarter things are going to be different. The spring market is way different than Q1 market. So we did our best to compare year over year as much as we can.
Exactly. Unfortunately, it does snow a little here.
It's real.
It's real. So, all right, cool. So, closed sale year over year, Ontario County, we saw actually went up this quarter versus at this time last year from 309 sales to 322, which is up right around 4%. So, the amount of sales actually went up. While in other counties like Monroe and Wayne County, they both went down in sales, which I thought was interesting.
So, as we were talking about this before, one of the things that we really attribute a lot of that to is the heaviness of new builds in Ontario County. And a lot of it, you know it a lot, there's so much happening in Farmington, but it's the level of the new build. It is that second level, so it's not your first home, but it's your second home, maybe even your forever home. Those are the ones that are being built. Yeah. So let's go back to where we started. We said that the problem is you are great if you are selling, but you don't know what you're going to buy. So a lot of times the reason sales are down is because they want to sell, but they don't have anywhere to go. So they're like, we're just going to stay put. Whereas when we have strong new build opportunities, they don't have to go searching and go putting offers in 27 houses. They go to the new builds, this is what they're getting, and they're willing to wait the 6 months, however long it's going to take them. They may pay more than they probably maybe even wanted to if they want it, because we all get new builds. There's beauty in them, and then there's challenges in them. But when you're in a market that has low inventory, the opportunity for a solid home that is new build starts to pique everybody's interest. And because of that, we get more inventory on those lower levels because they can sell because they know where they're going.
Exactly.
So overarching.
Great point. Definitely. And Ontario County
We came up with it together, but I got to say it.
Our Ontario County is unique because there's, so many new builds. And I think our team, just kind of putting it into a real world perspective, has done so many new builds because we're getting to the point where we've been in a seller's market for so long that our buyers are saying, we're done with this, and so they're kind of looking into those different arenas, which new construction is a great opportunity for that, and we're seeing that it's really blowing up in Canandaigua, Victor, Farmington, places like that.
Yes. So Ontario County is up in closed sales, and then Monroe and Wayne County, they're down about 6 to 8%. And a lot of times we think it's because the inventory is low because people are just staying
put.
Thanks, Tom. You guys
Bye,
too.
Tom. Awesome.
Okay, so inventory check-in.
Yep. So this is really a driver of what type of market we're in, as we've talked about. When the inventory is low, that's when we're in a seller's market. So now year over year, which again, we talked about this in our Q1, at this point last year, we were like, no way the inventory could get any lower. What are our clients going to buy? No way that could happen. Well, it happened again, and we are down again year over year in inventory.
Yes. Ontario County is down 5.8%. So basically from 445 homes in the market to 419 homes on the market. And now you say, there's a lawnmower outside.
Should I close the window?
No, it's fine.
Okay.
You'll enjoy the background music. But you go from, that's a lot. Like, that's a big percentage of, think about that's how many buyers do not have a house that they can be looking at. And that's a lot. So that's Ontario County. Monroe County's down 14.2%. From 1,264 houses to 1,085 houses. So inventory, when we didn't think it could get any lower, it said, watch me.
Watch me, exactly. Stand still and watch. And then in Wayne County, we're again down almost 15%, 14.9%. The numbers aren't as dramatic. In Monroe County, we went from 1,200 homes to 1,000 homes. In Wayne County, we're 262 to 223. So not down as dramatically, but the percentage is large, that's for sure. So that's really where we see that driving force of when inventory is low, that's when sellers kind of get their pick. They're in the driver's seat in that seller's market. So, all right, awesome. Want to jump down to, we'll end with absorption rate. Want to do that?
Great.
All right, cool. So let's talk about average.
Whatever you say, girl.
Let's talk about average price per square foot, because I thought this was really interesting in how we're seeing, again, in a seller's market, the inventory goes down, so the price goes
up. And guys, here's a side note. So Abby specializes in representing our sellers. We have buyers agents, sellers agents, and then agents that do both. But one of Abby's strong points is numbers because she represents sellers all of the time. So that's why I let her take the lead. So yeah, all of these numbers, I'm like, okay.
You love numbers
Yeah,
too.
I love
She's
numbers,
an Excel girl.
and I'm also here for the party and all that stuff.
Well, hey guys. All
Hi
right,
everybody
cool.
who's tuning in. Thank you so much. Look at all this loving.
Awesome.
I love it. Okay, average price per square foot. Go.
Me. Okay. So in Ontario County, we're up from $110 per square foot, which is significant, to $125 year over year. $125 per square foot.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
13.6% is what it's increasing. So that means the prices are dramatically
Going
increasing.
up. Yep, and that's just in a year. A change, 13% in just a year. In Monroe County, we're up from $99 to $103, which is about 4%. And then in Wayne County, we're from $87 to $91, which is 4.6% change.
And we're comparing everything. Like, this is totally broad, from ranch houses to colonials to split levels. This is overarching all three. So it's crazy.
It's crazy. And it's also, Monroe County, you have the city, you have, neighborhoods right out the city, you have Brighton, Pittsburgh, Perrington, you have a lot of different types of neighborhood style homes, prices, and things like that. But either way, 4% year over year is huge, let alone 13.6% in Ontario County.
Yes.
Crazy.
Love it.
Crazy. And again, in Ontario County, we do have more of those new builds.
Yes.
So that's something to consider as well. You're getting a brand new home, meaning that price per square foot.
Oh, that's a great point. Gosh.
We're right here.
Yes, and that's where you think about in new build houses, the new builds can even push their prices up even more because they can, because the value's going up.
Yes, for sure. All right, how about days on market?
So the days on market is such an awesome indicator of buyer's market, seller's market. So you can imagine if you are in a buyer's market, that means that the buyers are totally in control. Your days on market might be a little bit longer because the buyers can be like, I don't know if I like this house.
I'd like to schedule a second showing.
I'd like to schedule a second showing. I'd like to bring some other people back. I'd like to sleep on it. So you can keep the house in the market a little bit longer, and it's okay. In a seller's market, which is what we've been experiencing, any buyer out there can probably relate, you can't sleep on it. You can't take a second showing. Sometimes people are like, I can't even get an inspection. Like these crazy things that are happening in that. So the days on market is such a huge indicator to be able to say, is it a buyer's market or is it a seller's market? So right now, all price points, all styles in Ontario County, the average days on market is up from 13 days on market to 15 days on market. Not dramatic, but it's actually increasing. In Monroe County, it's gone down from 6 days in the market till 5 days on the market.
That? 5 days.
5 days is what the average is. And then in Wayne County, it's gone down from 13 days in the market to 11 days on the market. So we're seeing with the inventory, the seller demand still big, and we're going to dig into a little bit more. We'll break up the price points, but it's so cool and crazy to see those numbers going down.
Yeah, for sure.
And I do think though, the statistics of new builds with median days on market sometimes is tough because with new builds, it's not like, hey, the property's here. A lot of times,
it can be longer, for sure.
It can be a little bit longer, so that might be why. But we do think that Canandaigua in specific is a little bit slower. So let's get into that.
Yeah, perfect. That's definitely what we're seeing. It's definitely its own little market over there that we are just so in love with. But that's definitely something to consider, and you'll see.
Devin, awesome.
Perfect. Oh, I didn't know. That's awesome. So, the absorption rate.
Yeah.
So this is
define absorption rate. Yeah.
So absorption rate is pretty simply put is the rate at which a market absorbs a house. So let's say it hits the market, basically how quickly it sells. The fancy term is how quickly it absorbs into the market.
Yes.
Which is the absorption rate. So again, if this number is less than 3, that means we're in a seller's market, meaning that it goes on the market and within 3 months it successfully sells.
Mm-hmm. And I think the extra key to add to the absorption rate is how much inventory is currently on the market compared to how many buyers typically buy houses in that market. Yeah. So if on average you have one buyer buys a house a month, at the end of that month, there's one house that's going to go, but there's 3 houses that are currently for sale. there's only one that's going to sell, and it will take 3 months for that current inventory to sell.
Yep.
And so that's a little bit more about absorption rate. How long, if I listed my house today and every house sold, how long will it take for my house to then absorb into the market?
Great real life experience.
You know me.
And example. All right, awesome. So what we do is we're really breaking these down into town and then price point. And if we don't talk about your town or your price point, definitely send us a message and we can get you the static, because it's super cool to really break it down specifically. So starting in Canandaigua,
yes,
from 150 to 250, we're still seeing that seller's market. So on average, 1.59 months. When we go a little higher, to price point 250,000 to 350,000, that's where we see a jump, where we actually up to above 4 months, so 4.1 months. And then if we go a little higher, and then we'll kind of break this down, 350 to 500, we're at 5.63 months. So we get above that 3 month. Hey Pete, long time no see.
Yes, about that 3 month mark. And
Yep.
the key with the 3 month mark is what in all, economist worlds, they typically say 3 months inventory is that tipping point. If it is below 3
Yep.
months of inventory, it's a seller's market. If it's above 3 months of inventory that's currently on there, it's a buyer's market. Because think about it, the buyers have more to pick from.
Yep.
So, and they have their time, they know that there's enough out there. So for us, when we see if it's under 250, the buyers still have control. If we're going above 250,
Yep.
you have to really make sure you're still pricing aggressively, you're still doing the updates to make sure that your home is in pristine shape so that the buyer's walking in and falling in love with it, because you're not as in control as if you're under 250. And I would say a lot of people in the market can probably see that, can speak to that, and can agree with what we're seeing in Canandaigua.
For sure. And what's really interesting is that we're seeing, so when we looked at these numbers in quarter 1, that higher price point in Canandaigua, the 350 to 500, was taking 7 months on average to sell, and now we're down to right around 5.5 months. So we are seeing that some of our higher priced homes in Canandaigua are selling quicker now than maybe they were in the first quarter, which is really interesting and definitely a good perk for our higher priced listings in Canandaigua.
Yeah, which is what you've actually literally
seen it. I've seen it happen. It's really interesting.
We've had houses that have been in the market for a little while, and then finally those buyers are coming out and falling in love with these higher end houses, and they're just coming out. So,
and we do have the new builds in there as well in Canandaigua, which would probably increase your amount of houses that are on the market.
Valid.
Sure.
Great point.
Cool.
So we separate Canandaigua and Victor because we talk about Ontario County, and obviously those are together. But Victor sometimes, in the way that Canandaigua is its own little world, Victor's kind of its own little world, because yes, it's in Ontario County, but it's very much more east side Rochester E. So it has kind of a different market of its
You don't have to go down 332. Am I right?
Am I right or am I right?
So let's talk Victor.
Okay, so Victor, 150 to 250. That is 0.56 months of inventory.
Okay, that's 2 weeks.
In case you're wondering, that's 2 weeks. Quick translation. But anyone who knows a first-time home buyer house in Victor is going to be flying off the shelves. That's expected. In 250 to 350, it's still only 1.35 months, and on 350 to 500, it's still 2.17 months. So now all of those are even down from quarter 1. So homes are selling even faster now. There's even less inventory and more buyer demand now in quarter 2 than there was in quarter 1. But guys, all those numbers were under 3 months. Yeah. All those numbers under 3 months, that even if you were to list a $400,000, $500,000 house, it's still a seller's market for you in Victor.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, and quarter 1 for those higher priced homes, the 350 to 500 in Victor, it was actually a seller's market. We were seeing absorption rate wise earlier this year, and now we're shifting back. We went from 4 months to around 2.5 months for our those prices in Victor.
Yeah.
So
gotta
super
love
interesting.
the spring market.
Yeah.
And that was like the spring market quarter 1 too.
I know.
It was so crazy.
Yeah, for sure. So now let's jump into Penfield.
Okay.
So in Penfield, 150 to 250, we're at 0.91 months. In 250 to 350, we're at 1.94 months. So still under that 3. And then in 350 to 500, we're at 1.64 months. So all definitely under that 3 month mark for our clients, no matter your price point.
And now what I will say, so, there are some...
You got it, girl.
I can do this. There are still some stats where it's going up. but it's also going down. But you're going to start to feel that we are actually starting to see that buyers are still getting a little bit pickier in specific price points, especially I think it was the 250 to 350
in Penfield.
It went up from 0.88 months up to 1.94 months. So maybe instead of like 20 multiple offers, we're getting like 5 multiple offers. It's going up a little bit. It's still pretty aggressive though.
Yeah, and we'll definitely touch base on kind of our overarching thoughts based on these numbers too, so stick around.
I love it. Thanks for everyone that's tuning in.
Hi,
John. Hi, Kelly.
Awesome. So if we get into the city of Rochester from 100 to 200,000, still at 2 weeks, guys, 0.56 months it takes for our absorption rate. And in Brighton,
city.
Yep, and in Brighton from 150 to 250, we're still at 0.69 months, so 2 weeks on average for our houses in the market to absorb or sell. And then Brighton 350 to 500, we're at 1.76 months. So even these really higher priced homes, which normally these higher priced homes, we expect them to take longer to sell because the amount of buyers is just smaller.
Yeah.
You have, obviously it's a higher price, but there's also less buyers out there. So we expect them to maybe take a little bit longer because the buyer pool is smaller, but they're not.
They're not. We're still well under, in Monroe County, well under that 3 months of inventory for your absorption rate to be able to say, totally seller's market.
Totally seller's market.
Totally seller's market.
Cool. All right. Well, that's what we've got on absorption rate. And if we didn't talk about your town, your price point,
we just
message us.
We just picked some towns that we felt like we really liked the data that was coming up because it was so powerful and it's what we're seeing.
And I would say that if you're in, Pittsford, Webster, around that Penfield spot, those numbers are going to be very similar. But definitely we can run specifics.
Yes.
But that's what we're seeing across the board is that many of these numbers went down or stayed very much the same from from quarter one.
Megan says it's so interesting. I had no idea there was so much data that was involved in it. And it's like, this is what goes into all of our brains when we are just cranking at all these numbers. Not little, they're massive. No, but it's very, very cool and very, very interesting because our job is to know all of this so we can help you guys make the best decision you possibly can. So
exactly. And that's really why we look at these numbers and then we say, oh yes, we can make correlations, and that's kind of what we wanted to talk about next is we're seeing that.
What are your big takeaways?
So I think what we're seeing across the board is year over year, the inventory is still low.
Yeah.
It has continued to go down as we saw with that 8 to 15%. Inventory is still down. What I think is interesting though is we're seeing that it might be settling down a little bit. Maybe not as dramatic where we're seeing, hey, I'm a buyer and I'm putting in an offer on a house and I'm only competing with 2 to 3 offers, not 15.
Yes. Yes, exactly. And I think that when we're saying it's not as crazy, it was so crazy before that I think buyers are just a little bit happier now. We're also seeing that buyers are starting to ask for things in inspection that they have not. And it's not that they're getting more confident in it, it's that they don't have, 5 other buyers breathing down their neck where they don't have a choice. And we think that might start to balance it out where we may have buyers who left due to buyer fatigue start to slowly come back in when they realize okay, I don't have to be competing with 17 different people.
Hi Patty, you're welcome.
You bet, Patty, we're happy to help. So we're seeing that, we're seeing a little bit more confidence, and I think we haven't talked about interest rates too. Interest rates are still great. They're still low. A lot of people were saying 2019 they're gonna skyrocket, and we're not seeing that. So I also think that's giving people a little bit more of I don't have to move right now if I still want that.
And that's where I know we've talked about this in the past, but right around December, January, the interest rates crept. I don't know, went up to right around 5%.
Yeah.
And in the grand scheme of all of the years, they've had interest rates at 18%. So it's nothing outrageous, but for people who are used to 3-4%, that was a big jump. And now we saw, okay, they went back down, and now they still even are down into the 3s. So there's definitely that creates an opportunity for buyers to say, hey, I want to buy my forever home. I need to lock in my 30-year mortgage. I might as well do it now.
Yes. Yes.
For sure.
And the one thing that we also haven't talked about too is how we were a lot about this Home Buyer Dream Program.
Yeah.
So one of the things that Q3 was planning on bringing is this Home Buyer Dream Program, and we're so interested to see how it's working out, because what's happening is we're also hearing that some of this money that New York State, it's not this constant, each lender is getting limited in how much money they can spend and
So
they can give away.
This is the new first time.
Back up.
It was good though. It was so perfect.
Take me there.
So the Home Buyer Dream Program is the new first time home buyer grant program. So it used to be the $7,500 and now they've upped it to
The one you had to save for 10 months.
And you don't need to save for 10 months. The rules and regulations are much easier to qualify for. But what we're seeing is $15,000 is a lot of money, and each bank is only getting so much. So the enrollment for it just started
July 8th.
Yep, about
was
2
when
weeks
they got
ago.
was when they got to start applying, or no, recently, just where they just got to start applying, and we got a bunch of our buyers in, bang, 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 like right away.
Yeah.
So we're like first in line, which is awesome. But we're not sure how it's gonna last. So we'll let you guys know what Q3 and how it impacts some Q3 numbers for those potential first-time home buyers. Even though, because we think it was so strong, we're not sure if it's gonna tip the scale at all. But
Right, but
we'll
it'll be interesting to see how that plays out for sure. So awesome. Well, I think that's all of the data we have. I hope it was
Q3.
helpful. I know. Here we go.
So like we said, if you have any specific questions on your neighborhood or your town, anything like that, let us know. We can break this down for you even more. This is what Abby does on her listing presentations in terms of getting all of this information so that when we're going in to price a house, we're not just saying, oh, this is what we think. We have data to really back it up so that we're pricing it right, because we can't price for a market 6 months ago. We're pricing for the market that we are in, and all this data analysis helps us do that. So that's what we got for Q3. Expect to see us back.
Yes.
We'll do this every single quarter, and then in between we'll do some fun ones where we're educating you if you're a current home buyer, home seller, future buyer, seller. We would absolutely love to help you, and so make sure you're tuning in. So that's it for Friday with Friends. Again, Friday with Friends is our opportunity to tell you what's going on in the market, so that if you have any questions, comments, or anything you'd like to speak to, we can help you so that your friends, your family will choose us as your realtor of choice when you do have any needs.
For sure. Sounds good.
You can find us at friendonyourside.com, or of course on our Facebook page.
Comment below.
With everything we've got going on, and we look forward to helping however we can, and seeing you soon.
All right, guys. Let us know if you have any questions. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.